Hi drones, guess what? We're doing this again apparently because I was bored and, I haven't done this in a while, so why not? Let's just check if the stream is going. Oh yeah, by the way, in case you guys didn't know, for some reason I can't record my games for some reason, so until I fix that shit, I'm just gonna be like live streaming, including visual novels, in case no one got that message. I'm just gonna check if this is live streaming. Come on, load you bitch, load. Huh. Should be going. It says we're streaming. What the fuck? Huh. Update. Should be coming up. Let's check the Creator Studio quickly. Oh, we are live. Okay, sweet. Okay, let's get ready for the shit. Alright, let's just start where we left off. So we left off on a great scene, so let's narrate. I'm probably going to do this for an hour or two until I get bored and my throat gets sore, so let's continue. Shit, I had to. Welcome back. I felt the same as I did on that day of the nightmare. And it had to be now of all times. So we meet again. As the melancholic voice of the girl filled my ears, my consciousness faded out. Now then, let us momentarily chance upon one another at the boundary of dreams. A twilit beach, a closed world, eternally frozen in time between a sun and a sea of glittering gold. No one existed here. The ones who resided in this perpetually frozen space were neither humans, nor were they even alive. They were dead then. Was being bereft of life, the requirement to linger in this world. Nay, even the dead would flux, change, wear away and fade. If so, she who resided here remained an everlasting unchanging nil, existing yet not existing. A contradiction, yet as a result, a being eternal, one outside the boundaries of province. A heretic from birth, ostracized and isolated for her deeds. Endlessly sinful, a pitiful accused girl. All qualities that made her beautiful. A divine shunned girl, clad in gold, befitting this isolated realm. As a nigh dazzling omen of calamity. She... Salutations, and so we meet again, Margaret. Such was her name. How was your journey this time? I would like to hear more about it, about the world you've seen. It still continues, right? Indeed, and so does your song, correct? The being who addressed the blonde-haired girl was enigma incarnate, like a shadowgraph riddled with holes, if one had to present a suitable parallel. The tattered cloak he wore made him resemble a messenger from the Neverworld itself. His features denied distinction between man and woman. In actuality, this being had no face to begin with. He held no purpose, no individuality, one who merely crowned himself with one of countless designations to be used as a name, yet lacked one that permanently defined him. Were you not lonely, I fear? I sentenced you to solidarity for far too long. Do you happen to loathe me now? No, I'm just scared. I wasn't sure if I'd ever see you again. You never told me once that we'd meet again. Did you know that? Is that so? My apologies. I have had habits of a vagrant so ingrained into me that I have long since forgotten such customs. Your forgiveness would mean the world to me. And so I bet, it shames me to utter this mere seconds after apologizing. I do have a favour to ask you. You want me to sing, right? If it's that guillotine song, I've heard that multiple times. It's actually quite relaxing, despite for a song about people getting decapitated, but hey, to his or own. Indeed, do gift me for song. If it pleases you, I am preparing yet another little game for you. Cliché though it may be, I have laboured long and hard to bring it to fruition. It stands as second to none. To the opera in Paris, I once presented to her ladyship the Queen. Some random French bullshit I can't pronounce. Where's fucking John Luke when I need him? The girl's companion declared it in a celebratory tone. I would like you to adorn the opening act of this opera, not unlike she did at that time. You speak in riddles, Crusher. You know I'm not a queen, don't you? But of course, you are far more exquisite. Even as I glance back upon your countless years of my countless years of travel, I have yet to encounter a beauty to eclipse yours. Even though no one has ever said anything like that to me. Let me just check my channel quickly to see if we're actually live streaming so I can get the comment section. Where's my channel? Here it is. Let me just check. Huh. Oh, now I see it. Every man and woman and child feared you, loathed you, hesitated to look you in the eye, and chose to avoid you. As for why it is, they wish to not admit their own inadequacies, their hearts filled with despair at the sight of your very beauty. Also, the chat is up, so if you want to answer a question, want to ask me a question, I will type it in the chat when I have time to. Let me read this. Okay. Their hearts filled with despair at your sight of your beauty. Men come to fear what they fail to understand and decry it as evil. How foolish. How truly and utterly foolish. How many lights do they believe they have been snuffed out by such vanity and self-preservation they dub justice. Oh, how such actions fill my heart with contempt. Hear me out, Margaret. You are an abominable child, cursed by God. Your beauty begets my reverence, my worship. I implore you to be the guest of honor at my opera. In return, I shall free you from your curse. I made a friend on my prior journey. His prowess is fierce, his gaze instills terror, a personification of hell itself, yet beautiful in his own right. You see, I have already secured his promise to lend me his aid. He. Is he terrifying? Very much so, more than anyone else. Never have I witnessed such ferocity in all my encounters to this date. He truly is the harbinger of beguiling light, my one and only sworn friend. He will soon escape this ghetto, and that should be the result of your curse, being untangled as well. Tell me, Margaret, do you wish to keep singing here for the rest of eternity? I'm not sure. But what lies outside this place? That's not something for me to answer. 'Tis but a question of whether or not you wish to journey forth, whether or not you wish to see things for yourself. Know that I would gladly bring the sun down for you, should you desire it. Someone other than you has been coming by here lately. Who is he? It makes me a little happy to see him drop by, though I'm not sure why it happens. Could it be because he fails to perish even after being decapitated? What? To embrace your touch is a venture not even I would escape unscathed. But he is different, correct? Of course he's different, he's the main fucking character. Your other half, I underwent much hardship to create it. As a gift for my beloved, it is quite well made, if I do say so myself. I just love it, this dude can, like, destroy suns and make people at a whim. Like, this guy's just super powerful. He's basically Jesus. That necklace. Do you not wish to wear it? I believe it would suit you splendidly. Perhaps it is too soon for an answer. Then allow me to change the question. Do you wish to meet him and exchanged words with him again. Do you perchance harbor even the triflest sliver of such ambitions? I don't know, but you are curious, yes? Very well, I understand, Margaret. Then do sing, my dearest. Make it a tune of bittersweet beauty, a melody longing for one's most cherished. Our first act should be crowned with a tale of love blighted. Would you not agree? I only know of one song. Are you sure you are alright with that? I do not mind. In fact, there would be little precious meaning to this otherwise. Now, let me hear it, Margaret. Let the opera commence. No longer is there a need for this unchanging entity to continue any further. Will doing this bring me joy? Aye, I shall make it so. Do you promise? I promise and swear by my name, Augusto de... Fuck, I can't say the name for shit, as well as every fibre of my being. A ripple ran across the shade, almost as if it was laughing. Two snakes stretched from its right hand and became entwined in a difficult to describe otherworldly shape that could be very well be a staff or a sword. Now then, Zastara, our beloved, we have high hopes for you. The being raised its hands like a conductor as the girl began to sing her song. His cloak then expanded to infinity, covering the sky, sea, and sun alike in darkness. Night descended upon that shore of eternal twilight, and the cogs of frozen time began to stir once more. With it, words like a spell chanted, reverberated across the gradually blackening realm. 'Tis a truth like no other, one that stands above all else, banishing all remnants without doubt. For they who stand at the top differ in no way from those at the bottom. And indeed, those who dwell below are much like they are soar above. In the end, they all exist for but a single purpose, to erect the foundation of a miracle. He was Alabaster, the wandering Jew. He had many ways in a life of spanning eons. A shade-like spell-weaver, voiceless, recital endured. Let the curtains rise. Well, this fucking music's kick-ass. Sprinting, dashing at impossible speed, far surpassing the limits of high power output extinguishable by living beings. The fastest animal on land was a cheetah, at 120 kilometers per hour, but this was easy going. This was easily going like 3 or 5 times faster than that. That swift, raging gale of beings soared faster than the naked eye could follow, ultimately looking invisible when viewed through the filter of common sense. Despite its humanoid appearance, the being's sheer speed would no doubt make anyone reconsider whether or not to call it a human. And it wasn't merely running fast. Oh shit. It left blossoming flowers of blood in its wake, wielding an invisible blade with a range of several dozen meters that slaughtered all living creatures in its path. None were spared. Men and women, the young and old, animals and children, all were indiscriminately massacred using the exact same method. Decapitation! Ooh, what a plot twist. That whirlwind of death was like a giant guillotine, beheading all in its path. Her arms spread like wings, would slay all those it caught in their embrace. For this was no weapon, but an instrument existing only to execute. Created for the sole purpose of killing, it held no other role. A weapon's essence could shift depending on the wielder's intentions, yet this one remained unchanged due to its sheer simplicity. Its identity, the same in anyone's hands. As such, to find it so thoroughly without peers in the art of murder was no doubt a natural consequence. However, that being was currently under pursuit. A giant lance-like stake from above blew past the passing car, yet mysteriously enough, the accord pierced by the telephone pole-sized stake turned into a rusted heap of iron moments before it exploded. Its passengers aged into mummies before they could even burn to death. Jesus Christ. You taste like shit, monkeys. Standing atop the stake thrust into the ground like a gravestone was a man with fluttering long hair and a face as pale as grave wax. A system of strung-up vein-like lines rushed up the stake and spread out the man's body from his feet. He absorbed it all. Gasoline, water, blood, all the nutrients of the stake's victims, as well as the souls they required to function. You think you can run? William snared as he watched his prey continue to run without stopping. Let's enjoy ourselves. I've got you this time. Yet another stake bore into the asphalt, one that William used as footing to dash forward. He was not even half as fast as his prey. Yet despite that, the sheer difference between the length of their steps was enough for the ivory demon to rapidly close the distance. All those dozens or so meters length stakes were growing out of his feet, acting as extensions. Though his own body was the size of an average man, a single step for him could cover a colossal distance. Naturally, he did not look back upon whatever he crushed under his feet, for in William's eyes, humans and their creations were equal to mere insects. Not a single murder had occurred this week. The popular sports of the town, adorned by bright lights, attracted many a visitor even to such a late hour, and now they all indiscriminately fell victim to the guillotine and the stakes. The bridge was stained crimson with blood. Ironically enough, that illuminated carpet of Villian found not a shred of its radiance tarnished, and instead possessed a ghastly kind of beauty. And then, within that landscape, something else that could be both a nightmare and a sick jest occurred. The very earth trembled. A series of profound sounds shaking the very foundations of the bridge. It was a wheel. That was the only way to explain it. That 5-meter wide object chased the being in front of it as sinister spikes ate into the asphalt. The absurdity and irrationality of the size, mowing down humans and cars alike, grinding them into rust, could no longer be simply laughed off. The wheel wrapped in screams and flesh and fresh blood as it rotated faster as a colossal instrument of torture, reminiscent of the tools used in the days of the Inquisition. Jesus, this game's a fucking mouthful. At least the music's good. A girl stood atop it like a torturer emerged from the depths of hell. As indiscriminate as ever, aren't we? Well, I like things flashy myself. Her tone carried a mix of joy, excitement, and scarlet cajolery. I don't know what the fuck that word is. I'm gonna look that shit up. You've always looked down on us like this, haven't you? Do you still fancy yourself superior to the rest of us? After she wheezed out her next words. Very well, I will test you. Let's keep playing tag. However, you're not going to get off easy if it turns out you're a sham. I don't know how to pronounce that word, so I'm just like, the thing spread out of all directions from the track left behind the wheel. It covered the bridge in a flash and devoured every last corpse and wrecked car, leaving nothing behind. The act was absurd and extreme beyond belief, silencing all witnesses and destroying the evidence in a single sweep of one-sided genocide. Indeed, once the scale reached that level of absurdity, any man of common sense would be hard-pressed to label this phenomenon as anything but inexplicable. Don't you get tired of cleaning up this crap every single time? You'll only get more wrinkles if you keep being such a perfectionist, Malik. If you really believe that, then how about being more considerate? The Crimson Witch and the Ivory Knight continued to lay waste to the streets, spreading carnage while concealing everything in their path. In sharp contrast to those extremely ludicrous acts, their conversation was one of a graceful stroll. One inhuman being pursuing another, common sense had long since breathed its last, with all those bound by it dead. It felt more like a step into another dimension. From the very air they breathed, from the smallest speck of dust on the ground, the place had transformed into a battlefield of supernatural entities, commanded by rules far removed from the shackles of the ordinary. The two pairs of eyes, each glimmering with a wicked light, finally closed in enough to perceive their target's back. Finally caught up with you. Don't you move a muscle. This is going to hurt a little, but hang in there. On that order, a stake about the size of an adult waistline shot out of William's right palm like a cannonball, while a bundle of chains armed with rivets jetted out of Riska's shadow all at once. Would their target be secured, or would it be caught and ripped in two? Naturally, they did not believe this would be enough to finish their prey off. They were up against a substitute of a former vice commander. Even if their prey made a mistake, it probably wouldn't be enough to kill it, and then, if said prey could actually be taken out this easily, it would have been completely useless to their purpose to begin with. If their prey was going to die, it would do well to die fast. They would never allow powerless inferior scum to be part of the glorious Obsidian Round Table. In that sense, all the attacks were dead serious. They were still on their Yucca degree, or something like that, a level below their true power. But other than that, their dance of death remained devoid of even the tiniest speck of restraint. A normal person would die instantly. An attack from a weaponized anabe would slay all, even spirits without bodies. Humans, demons, gods, it mattered little, they would exterminate all that stood in their path. No method exists that could nullify a strike from an anabe wielded by war demons like them. As such, they anticipated the following. Their prey would survive, but would not escape unsheathed. Even if they poured its entire being into defense or invasion, their prey would still sustain a grave injury. And when that moment came, their pair would seize the opportunity and capture it. Other than being a tactically sound plan, they most likely had no other way to keep their target alive. However, the last thing they expected was their prey to see two attacks that would certainly kill anything it hit, and take them head on without even trying to dodge. Nah, impossible. To counter a pursuer without so much as considering invasion or defense was the act that went beyond mere recklessness and into the realm of sheer insanity. Who on this planet Earth would seriously prioritize wounding the attacker instead of trying to dodge a bullet? However, that counter, bordering on sheer madness, was enough to send William and Ruska flying back a few dozen meters, placing them out of shooting range. Their previous attacks ended up being less than effective too. The target may have been injured, yet that applied to the two of them as well. Unlike their foe, who had prepared for this outcome, they had taken unexpected damage. In other words, if one to look at the situation objectively, God is good, looks like we lost this one. They could no longer catch their target. They had been given the slip. No, other way to put it. Let's take some blood, and you'll take their life. Not a bad idea. I'm all that fond of. Frankly, perhaps I've been contaminated by this country's value systems. What do you think? Hell if I care. William's begrudging tone and demeanor hid very little of his rage at being humiliated. We're chasing that bastard. That son of a bitch didn't make it out of here unscathed. Let's seal the score tonight. No objections. Can't stay quiet after going through that. An injury inflicted by an anabe was no ordinary wound. The concepts accumulated within them over countless years turned both into a curse and a lethal venom. In fact, its stinging was even more effective against wretched foes like them. I can't say his name. What face warped into a weary smile? Oh, that hurt. That hurt really bad. I think I might even cry. Come on, Bay, don't you agree? It's been 60 years since I felt such pain, and I'm not sure what to do. Yeah, that hurt. It hurt alright, but aren't you happy? A long forgotten sensation. It may have felt good to effortlessly slaughter thousands, but this was the true essence of waging war. They felt the tension and exhaustion that only battle to a death with each side entire being on the line would offer. After having gone so long without a worthy opponent, they appeared to have almost forgotten what it's meant to put their lives on the line. The glamour and glory of the battlefield, the spark of a dying flame following a clash of souls. Ah, the sheer beauty and ecstasy of it all. How grateful they felt to be once again reminded of it. The scorching pan would be a nectar most sweet to them. I'm gonna have fun with this one. The night's still young, isn't it? Yes. That's right, Bay. I never would have expected the girl to be the one. William and Ruska, who had already gotten used to their opening. So during their third eyes, a type of vision differing from normal sight. During each battle, could easily discern a person's identity without even looking at their face by examining the colours of their soul. Furthermore, the colour they spotted in vivid detail was one of sinister magic, with a series of vicious and indiscriminate slashes being launched in all directions from its epicenter. The invocation point seems to be the tip of the body. Its range is just short of 20 meters, and the closer you are to it, the closer you are, the harder it is. It hits a typical fusion type, just thrashing around everything in its path with brute force. Reminds me of you, actually. I hear that, but I can't be all. Don't forget, that bastard is different from ours. After all, he's an originator. Either way, guess it'll be clear once we catch the fucker. Let's go. William and Rushka committed their pursuit once again. Their regenerating wounds emitted a red smoke. Not a trace remained of the carnage and destruction that took place upon that bridge. The dozens of citizens killed tonight would no doubt be dismissed as simply gone missing. Normal people by nature couldn't hope to comprehend inhuman principles. I'll go have a quick glass of water. Okay, I'm back. Nor could they understand its suffering. It's cold, freezing, and it hurts. Its thoughts scattered in disorder, left at the mercy of the torment of negative emotions. Like someone caught drowning in a venomous ocean's whirlpool. In the end, it could no longer maintain its sanity. Or rather, where did its sanity end and insanity begin if the ability to restrain oneself was the sole determining factor? Then one had no choice but to say it had been insane from the start. It wasn't driven with a desire to kill. It didn't wish to, but neither could it stop. Why was that? It could no longer distinguish. It could no longer distinguish. Fuck me. Between I haven't. This happens whenever I haven't used a word in a long time. Between the objective and the subjective, almost like it possessed multiple heads. It was freezing, and it hurt tremendously so. No doubt a natural result of having been submerged in the cold winter waters yet. By the time its face broke the water's surface, the pursuer's presence had already faded. It had successfully shaken them. It began to swim pathetically, panting like a wild beast. It was no longer there was no longer any feeling in its arms, not due to the cold, but rather the frenzy from earlier, straining its limbs to the extreme. With slender hands that looked like they would barely hurt a fly, it sliced apart numerous people and cars, then fought two others. It vomited up blood. It didn't appear to have any external injuries, but the chills that accumulated in the gut like mud in a ditch wouldn't go away, nor did the pain, for that matter. Which it felt akin to mountain-hot chains wrapping around one's legs. They were all the after effects of its battle from a short while ago. William and Rushka, their attacks had left a curse that smouldered still on the body, leaving it in a state of where even swimming proved a toil. Suffering in agony, it pushed its way through the waters that felt as heavy as mercury before finally reaching the wharf. Why did the tears refuse to stop trickling ceaselessly down its cheeks? Were they out of pain, fear, or joy? With an answer nowhere in sight, it clawed up to the wharf with enough strength to knock off its nails, creating cracks in the wet concrete. The act went beyond superhuman strength, entering the realm of outright inhuman. That power whispered, it wasn't enough. Cut, 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 cut. More, 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 more. Ah! It crawled its way out of the ocean, laughing as it simulated that very voice. This wasn't enough. It had to cut more and more. It had to devour more and more. It had to sacrifice more and more. He needed to get strong, so she had to pull her weight. She would be his strength. She would help him. That wish meant everything. She could think of nothing else. But when and why did she begin to think that doing this sort of thing was okay? I see. In other words, the Cladius, the two-headed snake. where one head replaces the other when necessary, so that's how it happened, huh? They had me completely fooled, but this explains everything. The problem lies in determining which one of them is the true head. What do you think? Well, to be frank, I'm not quite sure. The sickening sound of breaking neck bones. Vala Tifa wore a faint smile as his companion stomped at the security guard she had knocked out, robbing him of life. Either way, we'll find out soon enough. Take a look. This is their Anna. I don't know how to say that name. It appears they have yet to fully assimilate. With this, it's only a matter of time. Do you understand? Yes. The blade of the guillotine on display was now soaked with blood. No doubt it belonged to tonight's victims. The synchronization has progressed. This happened faster than I expected, but I wonder if this means it found enough fodder already. Well, this is after all the place where Lady Christian fell 11 years ago. She and the spirit she had collected may have contributed to the ritual. In which case, I believe it's already had enough. The first swastika should open soon. It appears the killer piece came into combat with Bay and Marcos earlier, but escaped before they could apprehend it. Knowing them, I do not believe they will obediently do as they are told, but I should probably recall them tonight. Then allow me to. No, I will handle this. You're going to likely only unnecessarily complicate the situation. Ah, do not look at me like that. They are excellent soldiers, and so they take pride in their work and skills. They cannot help being eager to prove that they've surpassed His Excellency, the Vice Commander, over these 60 years, and as such, they are prone to recklessness. Well, I do understand their feelings. Can you truly blame them? Fighting spirit is key for those who embark upon the battlefield. They need to compete with each other, after all. And I will do my utmost to set the necessary stage for their grand exploits. I feel ashamed for forcing you to assist me, but please bear with it just a little longer. We will complete the swastikas and summon Lord Hydric back into this world. His Excellency the Vice Commander sent his own substitute for that purpose, so let us now take a step back and observe. If the prerequisites of the spell's invocation are as I suspect, war shall soon be at our doorstep. Understood. Kai drew a step back. Then I shall ascertain the circumstances with my own eyes, your eminence also. After throwing a glance at the dead security guard at her feet, she went on in a low tone. I'll take care of the cleanup, so do try to restrain yourself. You seem to be just as restless as those two. Indeed. The priest fiercely sounded a chuckle of self-mockery. Did he produce a cell phone from his pocket? A truly unsuitable item for this place, and began dialing. Yes? It's me. How are things on your end? Yes, I see. That's splendid. I leave the rest to you then. Noting that her conversation with the priest was over, Kai moved away to pick up the body. My deepest apologies, Swine, but could you please help me and stop Bay and Malchus before they raise the entire town? Consider this an order directly from me. Yes, that's quite alright. So Spine had arrived as well. Considering Williams claimed that he would take another 2 days or 3 days, he seemed awfully fast. So perhaps that was all according to plan, or Keikaku. Well, whatever the case, things are finally falling into place. Kai began to walk off, leaving the priest behind to keep talking cheerfully on his phone. She couldn't completely tree spine, but he would likely stop them if ordered. With William and Ruska out of the way, this proved to be a favourite opportunity for Kai to act independently. The substitute for Miracles, Vice Commander of the Longinus, it will probably be best for her to confirm its awakening. The clock had struck midnight. If she had, she would have just enough time to make it. You'll promise me, won't you? How many hours had it been since I'd hesitated over that question? Huh? When I came to, I was lying on the park bench. What happened? Why was I all alone in a place like this? Checking the time, I found it was already 20 minutes past midnight, 2 hours since I'd last done so. It couldn't be. How did that happen? I forced my brain to operate at full power in an attempt to make sense of the whole situation. Ah, right. Where was she? Looking around, I found a place completely deserted. You had to be kidding me. It was almost like... Ugh. The moment I attempted to stand, I felt pain akin to an electric current rushing through my entire body. All my muscles creaked for some reason. I honestly had no idea why. It shouldn't have been related to sleep. I mean, it felt like I'd abused my power to its limits. Did that mean I ended up doing the same thing as before? Which meant I robbed of her life? No. That couldn't be true. No, I didn't do such thing. Like hell I would ever kill her. She had to be okay. I was certain of it. There was no blood around me, and her screams would wake the dead. I obviously would have been no exception. That's right. I'll find her. I didn't know why she was not here, but it was probably related to the fact I fainted. She must have gone to call a doctor or something. That had to be it. It's not entirely nice of her to leave me all alone in a place like this, but this was all my fault. I'd find her as quick as I could convince her I would be okay, put up with her usual antics and lectures, then go home. That was all I had to do. No big deal. We would return to our usual day-to-day lives. So I had to stand. Shouting to myself, I spurred my creaking body to stand up. How far could she have gone in the 2.5 hours I had blacked out? Despite feeling like I was just about ready to fall over, I started staggering forward. Even though this visual novel is really much of a world salad, I like how they do a lot of description about how the characters feel and stuff, so I think that's really cool. My thoughts were assailed with white noise, my sight scrambled by a sandstorm. My head felt like it split open. I kept ignoring the creaking of my body, only for my brain to start boiling. Now I couldn't even think straight. What kind of places would Kasumi go to? What were the closest hospitals? No, first of all, was there a more efficient way to look for her someone? I wasn't in some historical drama. There was no need for me to run around town like a headless chicken in order to find a missing person. Here in the 21st century, you use a much simpler and more certain method. So I'd use that right here, right now, seriously. What kind of dumbass was I not to pretend not to know about? I mean, that made it sound like I was scared of seeing her, right? Scared of Castaway, seriously? Scared of that stupid and helplessly simple childhood friend I'd grown up to treat more than a sister than a woman? We were talking about the same girl who came over every morning to wake me up of her own volition, would always cook me meals that were neither amazing nor incredible, and both were extremely clingy and frank. Why would I ever be scared of someone like her? I was being ridiculous, absurd. This anxiety was completely unwarranted. I just need to do it and get it over with. Enjoying the splitting headache, I slowly lifted my still trembling hand. All I had to do was stick my hand into that coat pocket and pull out my cell phone. Then I'd call and everything would be fine. Hearing her usual lively voice would put an end to this. So why was I hesitating this much? What was I so scared of? I hadn't harmed Kasumi at all. I would never do that, not even if heaven and earth turned upon themselves. But the fact that was my instincts and not my rational mind that was rejecting this meant meant that meeting Kasme would put me, and not her, in danger. Like hell. Agitated by that train of thought, I slammed my forehead into the streetlight with a kind of force that could very well split my head open. Sparks flashed before my eyes, following by a sensation of lukewarm blood flowing through me. God damn it. So I wasn't just dreaming this all. The shock that wiped. I need to take a brace for my voice, because Jesus, this is long-winded. Any questions? Nope. Good lollies. That shock wiped out all the white noise out of me. The sandstorm, too, had begun to vanish due to my blacked out vision. Calm down, calm down. I had to calm down and fast. And in any case, my senses had returned to me. The numb pain spread from my forehead to the rest of my body, gradually jolting my bodily function away as I sluggishly reopened my eyes. Ah. Rain. Looked like it began to rain at some point, but I didn't notice until right now. But my whole body was drenched. Must have been lying here for quite some time. I gripped my cell phone and began to reflect as the rainfall cooled my seething brain. I had been through many strange things over the past couple of days. Oops. Accidentally skipped some pages. Oops. Guillotine severed heads, splatting blood. Though I witnessed someone getting killed, there was no blood covering my surroundings. Strange. Objectively, it lacked any sense of reality, like I was watching a movie. It was an uncomfortable sensation, like I was looking through someone else's eyes. What was Kama-san out doing during that time? Dropping tableware, a morning where she usually understanding her unusual training usement, the destroyed training bunny, the bent bamboo suit, her dumbfounded face, her violent behavior, physical strength that no woman could exhibit, slender arms only a woman could have, the abnormality of this all occurring only when I feel asleep. There were so many hints, yet I was stupid enough to ignore every single one of them. Sakurai, Ruska, William, Zephyra, the swapped head, two heads, intertwined, influencing the other, yet never facing one another. Much like the sun and moon, light and shadow. When one awoke, the other fell into slumber. When one moved, one moved when the other's will came to the surface. A disassembling of individuality. An extremely convenient system where one controlled the other without ever realizing their own acts. I don't know how to say that name, the stuff of intertwining snakes. In other words, that meant the role of executioner and devourer was split into two. She carried out the killings while you gained the souls. The experience in your eyes, she was merely a tool to help you gain power, I see. One could liken it to a relationship of a vampire and its thrall. Magnificent, I could not think of a more perverse and cold-blooded design. I'm thoroughly impressed. I didn't think it was possible to stock multiple wielders to one magic thing. We couldn't imitate it. At the very least, I supposed it was one of those things that Bay and Marcus would rather not accept, even if they had a chance to suspect it. Given how conflicted they are about praising the power of His Excellency, the Vice Commander. Sakurai? How long have you been there? As I lay on my knees, she simply looked down at me, her expression bereft of sympathy and emotion. With that said, I'll leave you to do however you please. What? Didn't I tell you? It looks like you've lost the first round of this game of hide and seek. You won, so claim your reward without hesitation. You have my blessing. Those overtimers are a colossal pain in their worthless inferiority complex, and a refusal to admit defeat. But now, it appears the game can begin in earnest. In all honesty, The worst turn events would have been if you'd triggered one of us while you were still weak. Say for me, the newcomer, everyone here is so abnormally trifled of His Excellency the Vice Commander, so just give them an excuse and I'll pull out elephant guns to hunt down a rat. In that sense, this kind of approach was ideal for you. You couldn't avoid a period of infancy, where your powers weren't enough to take us on. So why not temporarily separate them among multiple persons, so the signal is always too weak for us to pick up while you mature? In fact, Bay, Malachus, and I let you go once. We thought you were suspicious, but we weren't certain, so while we lost our initiative, that which was divided shall become whole again, and we elevated to our category. Honestly, I must applaud his skills. He understood our disposition, and led us around by the nose. Frankly, I'm beginning to understand why His Excellency the Vice Commander is so universally loathed. Wait. I interrupted before Sakurai could babble on any longer. First you show up out of nowhere, then you start rambling about stuff I don't understand. What the? Don't understand? That's a lie. You've already realized it, haven't you? Then stop spacing out and just dial your cell phone. I'm sure your prize is waiting for you. How touching. She would repeatedly dirty her own hands while you slept, just so you could become stronger. That's impressive, even for a puppet. I'm on your side. Well, it does look like you were sleepwalking as well back when we first met. Perhaps that's proof that deep down you vaguely suspected something was up, to the point that you got worried about her and unconsciously went after her in your sleep. As a result, you draw the short end of the stick up by running into us when she was supposed to be keeping you hidden and safe. She should have been the one to go for that cheering experience you found yourself faced with in that night. When you think about it that way, you probably could have had as many substitutes for the execution as you wanted. Even if Bay and Maka had gone far and killed them, a new decapitating murderer would have been born the following night. By doing that, you could have prevented yourself from going out into the open. Self-sacrificial love would be the phrase for it, I believe. Even now, it looks like you shared a little bit of damage. If I had to guess, you must have recently experienced an event where you two confirmed your bonds for one another. Shut your mouth. What the hell was she even saying? She looked so smug when she said it, too. Just who in the world was she talking about? I believe they warned you not to feign ignorance. Admit it. 1 + 1 = 2. Anyone who denies that is an idiot. Then, I'd rather be an idiot. I'd rather not have an idiot as an opponent. Do you really think you're not capable of fighting like that? You don't actually think we came here to eliminate the murderer, do you? We don't actually care if someone's going around killing scores of people. We came here to wage war, you see. It's for that reason that we want you. So you're a part of this whether you like it or not. You have no more safe havens in this world. I cannot say if the war will break out right away. That's up to the wills of those above, but sooner or later you will face off against us. So if we didn't let you build up your strength to the minimum required level, we couldn't have an actual fight with you, no matter how much time passed. First, claim your prize, and become 2, then 3, 4, and 5. Otherwise, it would only become a problem for me as well. How long did she plan to keep you on rambling about this bullshit? I don't give a damn about your circumstances. In that case, will you die here just as one? Like I've already said a million times, there are a bunch of old-timers harboring various complexes. Even if you're less than 0.1, they would still want to pulverize you just to prove their superiority. It'd be best for you to assume there's not too many ideal chances to level up like this in the future. Even a divine vessel who's been soft on you will probably only show you mercy one more time. Even if I personally could restrain myself, any more would simply incite the wrath of Bay. If that happens, they probably won't stop us with just you. Naturally, she'll be one of them as too. Everyone around me would be a target by these psychos. The city will be wiped clean off the map. I've told you to shut your mouth. Though I made an attempt to grab her, Sakurai gracefully dodged it, putting some distance between us. She then heaved a bored sigh before continuing her monologue in a tone of indifference. If you don't want that to happen, hurry up and become 2. She should return to normal if you do that. Robbing a woman of what's hers is a man's specialty, isn't it? Now that we've seen through your trick, there's no longer a point to keeping it divided in 2. You should do it yourself from this point onward. If you truly care about your friend, then retire her from the role of executioner. Oh, and no cheating until that ends, Fuji. If you're going to sleep with someone, she ought to be your first pick, not me. I'm a little jealous, but I'll let it slide. After all, you've sent her off being absent for a whole week. You'll shame yourself as a man if you don't go after her. Hold her in your arms and comfort her, won't you? Well, best of luck. Do try to show us what you're made of. Wait. I reached out for her again, but Sakurai vanished before I could grab her. Judging from her final words, she wasn't going back, but rather to keep watch somewhere apparently. Damn it. The hell made her think she could spout out whatever crap she wanted. What was all about this shit about prize and whatever, seriously? God damn it. I nearly smashed my cell phone into the ground, but managed to retain my anger for the last second. Right. Sakurai didn't say anything deep down. I already noticed her strange behavior of late. Still, I couldn't just accept that. If I was to label her insane, then saying that I was crazy seemed a far more reasonable answer. Kasumi's saying she was different from the idiots like Shiro and me. I believed that, wanted to believe, and that nature of hers was exactly what made me treasure her more than anyone else. So I couldn't just throw the cell phone away. If I broke it, it'd be like admitting I was scared to find out the truth. That would be an offense, and above all, an insult to Kasumi. I had to put it into this ridiculous situation to protect her honor. I gritted my teeth. I gritted and ground my teeth hard, causing blood to pour out my mouth. I dialed the number Kasumi gave me earlier, while getting irritated at my own finger for shaking from the cold. Come on, hurry up, please, pick up already. If I can hear your cheerful voice, I'll... Damn it, what the hell is she doing? Growing impatient, I broke off into a run. The cell phone still ringing in my hand. By doing this, I know when I was getting close to her. This late into the night, the sound of rainfall was the only thing filling my ears. Where was she? Where did she go? I wanted to see her face, to hear her voice, to tell her it was okay. I dashed through the streets in the rain for several minutes, my clothes completely drenched. The minutes I spent like this could have either been much longer or shorter than how I felt. I had grown so impatient I could no longer accurately grasp the flow of time. What would I say when I found her? How would I look at her? How was I supposed to act? Could a guy of so few words and feelings like me get across my emotions properly? My body cooled. Heat left in me, my breath turned white, my heart raced with impatience. I kept panting and running, only to trip up in a puddle of water. I fell pathetically to the ground. I placed my hands on the ground in an attempt to stand up, but my hands were so slippery from the water that it was hard to do so. Damn it, what kind of water was this? It's sticky, smelly, and heavy like mud. My clothes were dirty, my hands a mess. What was this eerie sensation, this unsettling colour? This red blood-like? Why wasn't this a dream? This was neither a hallucination nor an illusion. I wasn't deluded, and I certainly wasn't just imagining things. The scent of rusty iron, particularly blood, pierced my nostrils as I heard that familiar ringtone. What the hell? Was this some sort of kind of joke? If so, I wasn't laughing. If this pool of blood belonged to the one person, then why was her cell phone ringing next to it? Oh, no, wait. She must have dropped her phone around here by accident. She always has been surprisingly clumsy and careless, so it has to be that, yeah. She was probably freaking out about right now, wondering where she had lost it. That's right. That had to be what happened. Man, she was such a handful. Oh well, I figured I'll just take it with me and bring it to her. She already gotten used to being a victim of her clumsiness anyway. Thanks to that, it'd be harder to find her. Oh well. And for a penny and for a pound, I'd search the entire city all night if I had to. Screw tomorrow's classes. But I had to find Kasumi's phone first. It was probably lying around in those bushes somewhere, no doubt. It had to be, yeah, absolutely, no doubt at all. Even though I desperately wished for it to be the case. Oh, Ren, you're here. The last morsel of hope I had left was shattered by her voice, its echo filling my eardrums and cranium. The one thought still remained in my mind, that there was no God. Even if there was, he had probably long since died, because if he was still alive, I'd kill him with my own two hands. Why did something like this happen? Why was I seeing this? I felt gorging out my own eyes, desperately wanting to erase this memory. To me, at the very least, the sight felt equal to the most maddening of nightmares. Dull eyes, a blank expression, a stiff body. My childhood friend soaked in rain and blood. Who was that? Who was that? A random person lying there without a head. What are you doing? My voice sounded like someone else's, and though it trembled so ever slightly, it remained blindingly clear. About as clear as this whole situation. Someone had died. They had been murdered. And thoroughly and relentlessly, without a doubt. Oh, Jesus. Well, she definitely needs to get. Casby stood right next to them, her whole body wet with spurts of blood. She was carrying a severed head in one hand. No matter how one looked at it, there was only one conclusion to be made. If you didn't do it right, Casby returned my unbelief with a blank stare. She tilted her head to one side, causing the one around to wobble. You didn't do anything right. You just happened to find this weird thing here, and you got curious, and the more I talked, the more I wanted to die. And also, with that fucking shot, that, I'm probably never even more monetized, especially this content. I mean, holy shit, that's a severed head. Something not even I believed could ever work as my trump card. I felt so self-loathing well up into my chest with every word I uttered in a desperate attempt to deny the situation. Can't deny, you can't deny reality, Pro Tycoon. God damn it. It had already been set in stone. There was nothing I could do about it. Kasumi Ayase was the killer, but still, so what? I knew her well. Kasumi Ayase was Ren Fuji's childhood friend. She was not someone who would kill dozens of people. Even if her hands had been tainted, I didn't believe that she would ever do so of her own will. According to Sakura, she was akin to a marionette used to provide me with souls, experience, a puppet. Then what's wrong with that? Laws didn't matter, morals didn't mean a damn. I wouldn't let anyone in this world blame Kasumi, she had done nothing wrong. On my scales, protecting Kasumi's individual life weighed 1,000,000 times heavier than the shenanigan of murdered or the pain of sorrow of their bereaved families. They could go to hell to all I cared, the living mattered more than the dead. If I didn't protect her now, another decisive push would all be to take her to all. Another decisive push would be all it took to send her falling. So, let's go home, Kasumi. You're gonna catch a cold. I stopped dialing Kasumi's number and took a step forward, my guard completely down. I saw no reason to be on alert, and yet something invisible sliced into my cheeks. I'm probably gonna stop right here because I'm getting tired, and so is my voice, and we'll kind of leave it at a kind of a cliffhanger, I guess. But thank you for watching. This is Bio Gundam signing off, and before I just officially leave, I do want to mention that I do have a werewolf game on the Thursday EST time, so that will be on Brett's channel whenever that gets recorded, and I'm probably gonna have another session of that Cthulhu D&D game on my channel, and also I'll be doing that's basically it. So I've got Werewolf this week, so go watch that whenever it gets released, the new session anyway, and I'll probably doing another week of that Cthulhu D&D game, which I promised to be a regular thing. So this is Bio Gundam signing off, and thank you for watching, and peace. So I'll stop streaming right now.